Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. That's right, every time we press F5 things are going to disappear. This is because of the optimizations in 1.8. And do you know what, that reminds me of something actually. If you're having slow frame rates in 1.8, if you upgraded from 1.7 to 1.8 and you are seeing a drastic drop in FPS, well, I've been reading about a bug that might be relevant to you. So if you have a 64-bit operating system, that's your Windows operating system, that's what that means, you know, like Mac OS or Linux or something like that, and you're running 32-bit Java, then there is a problem that can occur that will cause your frame rates to drop in 1.8, and the solution is to upgrade Java to 64-bit. Now, if you need to check if your operating system is 64-bit and your Java is 32 or whatever, I'm not really sure 100% how to explain what you need to do that, but basically you go into your control panel and you look around until you find the information that you need. So I can't be the most helpful person for you right there, but if you're able to check it and you have that, then upgrading Java to 64-bit should hopefully fix those problems for you, and that's been happening for a lot of people, so I thought I'd mention that quickly, and hopefully that helps you in 1.8. But anyway, let's talk about what we're going to be doing this episode, because we're over here at the Hermittown station. There's a reason I came over here. It's because we're going to be going to the Wither Skeleton farm today. Now, a couple of episodes ago I mentioned that we had that, and if anyone wanted to see it, and a lot of you commented saying you'd really like to see it, which I wasn't really expecting, but now that I think about it, it kind of makes sense. It's been a long time since we've gone over there, and some of you have probably never seen it. So the way to get there is from the station here. I'll show you the entrance in a moment, because it's in the most unorthodox of places, but I just wanted to mention as well that I haven't forgotten about our project here and the tunnel. I wanted to use some materials from the Guardian farm in the tunnel, so it's taken me quite some time, obviously, because we still haven't finished that, so we will get round to the tunnel at some point, but everything here still works. I don't think anyone else has hooked up a tunnel yet. It's pretty much the same old thing. I don't know why I'm coming down here. Anyway, let's just head back up to the surface and I'll show you the entrance to the Wither Skeleton farm, because as I said, it's in a really unorthodox place. So if you came here to the station and you were looking around, probably the last place you would go would be over the back here, round the back, and looking in the ground for an entrance. And this is it right here. This is the way you get down to it. There's just a ladder that goes all the way through the nether down to the bottom, and it's pretty dangerous if it wasn't for this cobblestone. If we just stop and have a look outside, you can see there's a massive lava lake below us. You can kind of see that. I really hope a ghast doesn't surprise me and knock me off. That would be horrible. Yep, so this thing goes right down into the middle of a lava lake, and you can see our nether is pretty much a mess. I think most nethers on servers, or in general, just become a mess over time. Anyway, so this goes all the way down to bedrock, or at least underneath the lava lake, and then there's a massive ice path that goes in 900 blocks over to where the Wither Skeleton farm is. So I guess it'd be a good idea for me to skip this bit of our journey, and I'll meet you over there. So this is the entrance to the Wither Skeleton farm. Not too glamorous, is it? Neither is this tunnel. Never really got around to decorating that, although it's 900 blocks long, so it's probably not worth it. But check this out. So when we go around the corner here, this is the proper entrance, and that is the old working area. And the way to get up to the new area for getting your Wither Skeleton skulls is up here through these ladders, which is a little unconventional, but the thing is the design kind of changed as we built it. So we used to have this workstation area down at the very bottom, and just above or around that glowstone is where all of the hoppers for collecting the wither skulls are, and you used to like climb up these ladders and walk alongside them, and if you fell down you'd sort of fall into this area down here. It wasn't very practical, so over time we just kind of built this platform up here and really done away with this area. This was also where you used to collect the items as well. You used to have 3 chests at either end, and I realised that was a bit of a pain in the arse after a while, you know, having to go back and forth and checking lots of chests, so we made it so all the hoppers go to one chest over there, which is pretty cool. And so down here you got some storage. I don't know if I've really got too much stuff that's been left behind. Actually quite a few resources by the looks of it. Tons of cactus and armour. What I'd like to grab is a night vision potion if there's one here. And there is, that's good, I'll take that. And a fire resistance potion. Excellent, we have the 2 potions that I wanted. That's good. We're going to go out into the nether and have a look at this thing from around, you know, the different places in a bit. Lots of soul sand, lots of bones and arrows. Tons of bones in that chest. Oh yeah, and that's right, I put ender pearls in there. That's good to know. Anyway, there's also a potion brewing stand down the end here. I can't remember if I actually mentioned that. This is obviously for brewing fire resistance potions and stuff like that. And we have a rent-a-loot. I think this was Slipgator used to rent out looting swords or something like that. I don't know. And there's also this button so you can hop up and go through the nether portal, which takes you to the overworld. Basically the only purpose for that is to get water. It's just a portal in a cave somewhere. Anyway, that's the area down below. Let's go up above and actually have a look at the Wither Skeleton farm. If you haven't seen this before, this thing is enormous. And it's inside an enormous cage as well in the nether. This is absolutely amazing, this place. What a fun project this was. I'm remembering all the music I was listening to now when I was over here working on the project. Good memories, I've got to say. Anyway, let's talk about it. First of all, we've got these iron golems around the place. These never used to be here. We've got these slabs kind of sectioning them off, and the reason for their presence is that the magma cubes can spawn up there in the farm. And what they tend to do is just find their own way out of there, and they'll fall down into these areas around the outside. So for that, we have the iron golems to clear it all up, which is awesome. And if I hit this guy, yeah, he won't attack me because he's one that I've made. If you attack one in a village, they attack you back, I think. If I'm remembering that correctly. It's been a while since we did that myth-busting episode. Anyway, let's talk about the farm then. So this was supposed to be a poor man's wither farm. That meaning it would be something cheap to build. If you have a look at the amount of hoppers down here, probably not that cheap. If you have a look up there, there's a lot of stuff going on. Basically, I had an idea that could kind of make it like, you know, a cheap way to separate the withers from the other mobs. And unfortunately, this is actually broken in 1.8. So notice how these guys are standing on the half slabs. When the crusher activates, they would get killed in 1.7, and now they don't. I don't know why that's changed, and that's really unfortunate because when a wither skeleton stood on a half slab in 1.7, they wouldn't get killed. So by having this crusher, we would destroy everything but the wither skeletons. And that was my way of calling it a cheap thing. However, when I started to build the spawning platforms up top, it didn't take long for me to start putting all of my resources into it. Let's kill this guy. Doubt we're going to get a skull. We'll go check anyway. Yeah, so this thing became really expensive, and now it's broken as well. But we're going to go up the top, and I'm going to show you these spawning platforms. I have always kind of been working on, in a test world and in my mind as well, a way to make a cheap wither skeleton farm using that trick without having some really expensive spawn platforms, but it never really quite worked out. However, recently I've had some ideas with some of the new stuff in 1.8 to maybe make that, so maybe that's something I could look at doing soon. We could possibly replace or upgrade this or something like that as well. So this bit up here, you can see it's really expensive. We've got an absolute ton of pistons down the side. There's hoppers, there's redstone, comparators, all the expensive stuff going on here. And I can give you a quick explanation of how this works. And by the way, normal wither skeletons farms would have a separator built into it for wither skeletons and blazes and pigmen and all that other stuff. So because I don't have that, it's kind of cheaper because of the crusher method, but yeah, that's broken. Anyway, so we got these platforms up the top here. On top of those blocks are where the mobs spawn, and they'll spawn on string, which will activate tripwire hooks at either end. And on the other side of those are these redstone torches. So when that unpowers, it means the item in this hopper, which I might be able to click on. There we go. That's going to travel back and forth between the two. There's a comparator on the other side of that, and the redstone goes over and powers all of the pistons. So as soon as something's standing on there, it means the pistons are going to push and retract until they're no longer standing on there. So on these three sets of platforms, they will fall down below, and then on the left side over here, and I fell off. I was holding shift. I was definitely holding shift. That is not fair. So the gap between these spawning platforms is 2 wide. If it was just 1 wide, then they would kind of push the mobs over the gap back and forth a lot. So that's why it's like that. And then we have an extra set of piston pushers, or whatever you want to call them, down the bottom here to put them into the 1 wide gap, and then they fall all the way down below. You've got vines in there to reset the fall damage and stuff like that. And that is pretty much the wither skeleton farm. So look at this. There's a rendering glitch here in 1.8. The iron bars never used to look like that. This is another thing to talk about, by the way. I remember when I came to do this, I was going to build the cage and then just start work on the farm. And as I was building the cage, I realised that this thing was going to be enormous. Obviously it was already, but I don't know, I just wasn't thinking clearly. And it took me a long time to build this. And it was an absolutely awesome project. And you guys really loved it. And this thing looks amazing from outside. So let's grab ourselves that night vision potion. We've got 3 minutes of this. And oh yeah, the nether just became a lot more visible and a lot more red. But look at this thing. Oh, it looks really good now. So let's go up the top here. By the way, you're seeing some half slabs. Me and Red Eyes went to town on this area and half slabbed a huge area around the edge of this. You can see like no mobs in sight. You can see slabs absolutely everywhere. We really did a good job, and we placed down 589 stacks of slabs, which is ridiculous. And it made for some really great spawn rates inside the farm, because of course if mobs can't spawn outside here because of all these slabs, then they're going to be more likely to spawn in our farm. And this basically goes more so on this side, this kind of area around here, and underground. I even went into the caves in the Nether and things like that, just slabbing every little bit. And less so on that side over there. There's also a fortress, which I can't remember if I ever finished slabbing or not. So what would be the best way to get over there? You've got a nice view of the farm from over here, but the best view is somewhere over there. And I just need to make up my mind about how to get over there. I think you can walk across there and get around. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to find out unless I try. Anyway, I'm going to make my way over to the better viewing point, and I'll meet you over there. Okay, nice view of the cage from over here. I've had no problem getting over here. A couple of good ender pearl throws and we're in the right spot. You can see we slabbed over this side, but there's not much beyond it. You can see some pigmen just on the hill there. And also there's a ghast just out of range over there. We've got to watch out for that guy. And yeah, that is the Wither Skeleton farm. Look at that thing. Absolutely amazing. So the way back into this place is actually using ender pearls. I'm just going to drink this fire resistance potion. We're going to launch one over there. And that didn't work. Let's throw another one. Can we glitch through? We used to do this all the time in 1.7. And, oh no, endermites. That's not good. Come on. Okay, how am I going to get through here? Can I still do it? Doesn't look like I can, which is kind of a problem. Little endermites. They are the worst. They feel so unfinished. Like, they have no drop, no value. They're just an added annoyance at this point. And I don't really like them. Right. Can we... It doesn't look like we're going to get through, does it? Okay, I'm going to make my way out of here. Enough derping around. We're going to head back. I don't think there's anything else to show you. However, I'm going to just scratch my head for a bit and see if there's anything I've forgotten to show you. Well, I can't think of anything, but these night vision potions, they allow you to see everything really clear. So I thought we'd just stick our head in here and have a look at this with a night vision potion. It looks so different, doesn't it? Very clear, easy to see what's going on. Makes a huge difference. Anyway, that is the Wither Skeleton farm. I hope you've enjoyed our little tour around here. It's good to come back and see this place. Really disappointed that it no longer works, and it's one of those bugs that I've got a feeling Mojang probably won't fix. That's just a hunch that I have. Anyway, it's time for us to leave. What is in these chests? Probably bones and stuff like that, but it looks like someone's actually cleared it out. Yeah, loads of items. Did we check to see if we got a Wither Skeleton skull? Well, either way we didn't, and I tell you what, those blaze rods, I will take those. They are going to be really useful. So we're back over here at Hermit Town 1.7 with the coloured beacon project, and we're going to try and fix this up and kind of finalise it today. There is one thing though that I want to address straight away, is a lot of people are really concerned that I didn't put purple between blue and red, and although I did say this was a rainbow effect or whatever, I was really just trying to create a colour spectrum, and I wasn't really thinking about recreating the rainbow exactly, but it turns out that I did it wrong, and what we want to do right now is remove that repeater, because this has gone to one of the ones that I wanted to look at. That colour doesn't look right there, does it? And I was about to break the glass on top of it, because I think I said in the last episode when we were working on this that I thought it might be the glass that was breaking it. And I don't have my silk touch shears, and they are all the way over at D-Max because I don't even have an ender chest over here. Feels like every time I bring ender chests to Hermit Town 1.7, I then move them for a project and they get lost, and I never bring them back. So I'm always wandering over here to get things from D-Max area. Anyway, yes, I think the white glass might be interfering with this. However, when we break it, if it doesn't change, then that's going to be stuck like that. But the thing is, it wasn't like that when we made the spectrum earlier, so it should fix it. Anyway, let's find out. This is one of the problems I'm hoping to fix today. So let's remove that. And it hasn't changed. Could that be because the beacon needs updating or something like that? Let's break this thing and just put it back. Let's make some space for it right there. Did I pick it up? Yes, I did. Okay. Beacon beam. No. Okay, well that's interesting. So you guys posted a solution for this, which was just to use a different block instead. Oh, it is there. I could hardly see it because it didn't connect on either side, and it's kind of hidden in the beacon beam there. Yes, fence post is something that we can use. However, since this doesn't seem to make a difference, I'm just going to use glass, and I've lost the glass already. So that was one potential solution. Do you know what? It wasn't like this, was it? It wasn't like this at all when we built the array of beacons first of all. So I don't know why it's like that now, but it appears that changing it to a fence post won't fix it. So I guess we can't do that then. The other things that we're going to do, if you remember, we have two of the same red colour somewhere. In fact, you can see it in the corner there. Can you see how there's 4 glass blocks next to each other? And we have 2 red underneath. Well, that's because of the nature of the piston tape. We can only have a even number of blocks, or group of blocks, if I remember correctly. But what we can do, as many of you have suggested, and I'm not sure if this will actually work, I've got to think about it a little bit more, but if we double fire the last piston, then we should be able to have one less group of blocks in here, because it would push all the blocks along twice. I'm going to think about that a lot more before I try and implement it. And the other thing you guys suggested was to do something to prevent the blinking. So let's just place down a repeater like that. And we'll wait for that to fire so you can see what I'm talking about. But when the blocks move across, the beacon is going to change for a split second. I also saw, and there it was, a few comments saying that that had been fixed in 1.8. We are in 1.8, it has not been fixed, so we need to find a solution for it. And the solution would be to stagger the way the pistons push. So what we're probably going to do is have this redstone right here, just power the one piston, and then we'll take the signal from there, run it through a delay with a repeater, and then send it to these two up the top to power those. And that should be really straightforward. Might be a little bit of a challenge to squeeze it in this tight area we've got around here. I think the only problem is this bit over here, because that's our room. We can't really remove anything. But the rest of this should be able to be digged out fairly easy. And by the way, I have tidied up this little area right here. It was a right nightmare, this little path underneath the path above. So yeah, anyway, right, I'm going to do that. We're going to try the piston staggering thing first. I'll also investigate if we can reduce the amount of blocks we have in this tape as well. And it is these ones right here that we need to remove. So I don't really see how this piston at the end extending twice is going to help us reduce the amount of blocks in here. See, there is a 1 block gap. So if this thing pushes twice, then it's pushed the blocks out, and then there's a gap that it's just going to push into. So it doesn't really do anything. Now, if it's a double extending piston, then of course it will move the blocks along 2 blocks, which would make sense because there would be a gap for it to fill. So I was thinking about what happens if the other ones fire twice, and of course it means they're going to move the blocks over here twice, so that definitely wouldn't be the way to do it. So I think what a lot of you meant was actually to make this a double extending piston, which I probably could do, but probably not going to do today anyway, because I don't have too much time to record today. So the solution seemed pretty simple. I gave it a quick test as well. This is the one at the end, so there's a gap. We're not going to break anything by doing this. We've added a repeater here with a slight delay, and then the signal just travels back over the top. And you saw there, it just fired the bottom one, then the 2 above. So that should help us with our problem. And it was really easy because they are pretty much in the same formation. We had a half slab here and here, so it was just adding a repeater, then a full block, and then turning those into full blocks as well. Because if you don't do that, I think they connect back with this, and then you've got like a loop, so it'll keep itself powered. Now that was fairly easy to do. However, on this side over here, there wasn't enough room. As you can see, this area is occupied by something else. So what we're going to do is just put it on the other side, which, although it's not like symmetrical or in the same direction or rotation as all the other ones, it's still going to do the same thing, I'm pretty sure. So no problem there. I don't have another repeater. I've used all my repeaters. I had no supplies for building when I came over here. Absolutely nothing. So that should now do the same thing. If I don't have another repeater, where's the one that I put down there? Because I've removed that one. Don't tell me it's despawned. And I've placed down, I just crafted 4, and I've placed down 4 repeaters. I know where it is. I'm losing track of them all now. It's right here from where we tested. So that one is going to point. No, we've already placed that one. It's going to come out of here, isn't it? Yes. Oh, no, that's the wrong way. Let's put that back down. And then, oh, we just missed our opportunity to test it. We're going to have to wait for this thing to come back round. Is it me, or did it look like all of the pistons just fired at the same time? Like we didn't have the staggered effect? It really didn't look like it, did it? Let's watch these ones over this side. Okay. They all fired at the same time. What happened to our delay? I don't understand that. I really don't. Let's look at the redstone this time. Well, that is a mystery to me at the moment, why it's not adding the delay. I guess I'm going to look at this for a while and see if I can figure it out. So I managed to break this a little bit in the process of figuring out what's going on, but I have fixed it. So the problem was that when this one was being powered, the piston before was being extended because of the delay. So when it tried to push that piston out, it couldn't because there was a piston arm in the way blocking it from extending. So what I had to do is actually reduce the delay here and increase it in the middle as well between each one firing, and now the bottom one will fire very slightly just before the first one. So you see the blinking effect is gone. However, it blinks with the colour of the one at the bottom for a split second, although that time it went red when going between blue. So in theory it would go to purple first. Yeah, and you can kind of see it just changes colour a little bit before it goes through. But all of these colours are now messed up. The bottom one got rotated around a few times while I was trying to fix this. But it should be fairly easy to fix because we have... This right here needs to have 2 red underneath it, so you can see where they've gone out of sync. So if I just do the same thing again, I'm going to have to sit here and wait for it to go all the way back round so it meets up with these two again, but then it will be fixed, and this thing will be slightly improved, but still far from perfect. Well, it may appear that we have fixed this or temporarily improved it, but it's just flashing, you know, another colour in between the ones. However, if we wait a moment here, it's going to flash the default colour. Look at that, that is not good, and you may be wondering why it's doing that. Well, it's because we are pushing the blocks at the bottom first. So when they're moving, that's when the beacon isn't going to calculate the colour of it. So when we have 2 clear blocks like this, then they're going to be clear because it's going to calculate these 2, which are standing still at the time it moves them across. And I think it might even just change again slightly when the blocks above it move again. So this thing has probably become more flawed. And do you know what I'm thinking at the moment? This whole thing right here, it's not really going anywhere. It is a nice project, but if we want to do this properly, I'm going to have to spend some time in a test world and really come up with something better. I do have a much better idea on how to implement this, but that is going to take some time. So it's probably going to come a project for another date in the future. But there is one more thing here that I want to talk about. And out of all the comments that I read, only one person actually pointed this out. And I didn't even notice it myself. And actually, to show you, I just want this to go around a couple more times. So there we go, 1 and 2. Excellent, right, so let's go over to the other side. So, we have a colour spectrum, and the colours are kind of like changing from one to the next. So we have yellow, and it's going to change into orange. So to do this, we have 1 yellow, then 2 yellow, 1 orange, 1 of each, 2 orange, 1 yellow, and then orange. Now, if we wanted this to be a steady gradient, we have, you know, yellow, so that's 100% yellow. In the middle, we have 50% of either, and then the correct, I guess, amount of either for that to be a steady gradient would be 75% yellow and 25% orange. But what we have is 2 and 1 of those. So it means we have 66.6 recurring, or 2/3 and 1/3 orange, which means it's kind of incorrect. And I was really pleased when I saw someone pointed that out, because I didn't even notice it myself, and it's totally true. We've kind of done that incorrect. So in order for this one to be, you know, more towards perfect, if you want to call it that, we would actually need 4 blocks of colour. But I think I am done with this project now. I came here with, you know, loads of feedback and things to fix and solutions for this, and it turns out it's just kind of showed more of the flaws that we actually have with this project. So we're going to knock it on the head for now and move on to something else. So that is actually all I had planned for this episode, really, to go and check out the Wither Skeleton farm and to come back and fix this thing up here. And it hasn't really taken too much time to do, but I've got those other big projects to be cracking on with. We've got the Guardian farm, and there's something else that I might be doing soon as well. And what I could do is rotate this thing to the colour that I want it to be, but you know what, I don't even care. In fact, purple is a nice colour. Let's just remove those 2 like that for now, and we'll leave it as a purple beacon. So yeah, I'm going to go back to working on those things. We've got a lot of digging to do. So I hope you don't mind the shorter, more talky episodes. It's good to have those as well, actually. I do talk a lot, don't I? I guess it's my job to talk. Pretty strange thing. Anyway, there you go. Purple beacon, that's alright. And thanks everyone for watching. As always, I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.